Hello and welcome to this broadcast of Your Questions Answered with Father Gruner. I'm John Veneri. In this program, we take your questions that you send to us. Father Gruner answers them, and we talk about them. And continue, please, to send us those questions at questions@thefatimacenter.com. The question today is, what are the 12 days of Christmas?
Well, the 12 days of Christmas are the 12 days between Christmas and Epiphany. And it's the season of Christmas. If you take your breviary, for example, you would have we have the Advent season, which finishes on Christmas Eve. You have Christmas season, which finishes on the eve, and actually the season goes from first Vespers of Christmas, which actually starts the day before, and it finishes on the first Vespers of Epiphany, which is the Vespers of the day before, but it's 12 days in between. So there certainly are feast days in there, but it's always in the season of Christmas. So December 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30, 31, that's 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the December 25th till January the 5th.
Now, the interesting thing I remember, because I like to read Blessed Abbot Marmion, who's a magnificent spiritual writer, very doctrinal, very Thomistic, and but also Benedictine, so his spirituality is really linked up with the liturgical year.
You know, St. Thomas, when he was dying, he was actually teaching the Benedictines. They pressed him to, with kindness, but to with the Benedictines, he taught his last.
But Abbot Marmion points out something about the importance of following the liturgical year and following the prayers of the liturgical year, because he says that there are certain graces given at certain times of the year that are connected, that are very much linked to that season. So during for example, we're talking about the 12 days of Christmas, which is the Christmas season from Christmas to Epiphany. You know, there are special graces that now he didn't enumerate them, but there are special graces, but they are connected to the mystery, the mystery that's being celebrated, that are really available at that time.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like eating fruit in season in a way, that before supermarkets, you've got certain fruit in season, and these are certain graces that we get in season.
Yes.
And he's basically urging us to follow the liturgical year, and to do the readings and to think about where we are and to meditate on the mysteries that are foremost. And so there's a lot to think about regarding during the 12 days of Christmas. I mean, we have of course our Lord's birth. We have the whole story of them going to Bethlehem. We have the slaughter of the innocents. There's all these things.
But their feast day, the feast of the Holy Innocents is the 28th.
It's the 28th.
It's certainly part of that season of the.
Yes. So as I said, the best way to one of the best ways to is to make it part of our lives is, of course, I would recommend getting the old Latin Missal and follow the readings that way.
Of course, January the 1st is the Feast of the Circumcision.
Circumcision, that's also part of the Christmas mysteries.
And it was 8 days, and it was celebrated 8 days after the birth, as which, of course, it was called for. It was the Old Testament baptism. I mean, of course, it's been replaced now by the new sacrament of baptism instead of circumcision. But it was 8 days. It's celebrated 8 days afterwards as well. Just as we have December 25th is 9 months to the day after the Annunciation. Okay, so that's and we have the asking about the Christmas season. You have the celebration of the Holy Innocents and their sacrifice and their deaths, but at the same time they were martyrs to save our Lord from the sword of the evil ruler, basically. You have the you have the first martyr. You have Saint Stephen, for example. Our Lord was born in order to sacrifice himself on the cross. So you have the first martyr being celebrated on the 26th.
Yeah, the term they use is the proto-martyr.
The proto-martyr,
is the proto-martyr, the first one.
And then you have Saint John, who was the closest to our Lord, and
Saint John the Apostle.
Saint John the
Apostle. December 27th.
Yes, and it's his feast day. And then you have the other days you still celebrate the Mass without the saints' days. You're still the priest is wearing white or gold. It's part of the celebration of the birth of our Lord. And so, in fact, it's I think Shakespeare, as you talk about it, there are some songs that they used to sing about the 12 days of Christmas, and it was really very Catholic.
Oh yes, yes.
To say
yeah,
something.
I didn't have a chance to look that up, but that was all. Each one of those points of the 12 days is some sort of Catholic symbolism.
Yes.
But that's all I'm prepared to say at this
Yeah,
point. I don't
sure.
remember the details. But and there was
So the idea of 12 days, but I mean, obviously, even in Elizabethan times when Shakespeare was writing, obviously the 12 days were talked about as it was common in the culture to talk about the 12 days of Christmas.
yes, in fact, one of Shakespeare's plays was called Twelfth Night.
Yes.
And that wasn't about Christmas, but it had to do with either being, well, I'm not sure exactly the exact reference, but the 12th night is talking about the 12th day of Christmas.
Yes.
What that has to do with the play, I'm not quite sure. But there's, one suggestion says that that's when it was performed.
Yes.
It was performed on 12th night. I don't know that's that's true.
So Christmas, I mean, it's and so we should, in our own celebration of Christmas, realize, unlike the stores that you might have talked about some other time, is that we should be celebrating it not just Christmas Day, but the whole 12 days of Christmas are something to be celebrated and as you mentioned, celebrate both
and celebrate in a sober manner. I mean, it shouldn't be an excuse for getting drunk or getting rowdy or anything like
all
that.
that. But at the same time, it's certainly visiting family and visiting friends. Also, that if you can't. Some families certainly you couldn't meet all your families in one day. I know one family they celebrate together, the extended family on Epiphany, but it's at the very end of the season of Christmas. And
yeah, and we still thankfully our culture is still set up just enough that the Christmas season is time when a lot of people have off work,
yes,
and people can get together with their families, which the value of that, can't be overestimated.
Yeah, well, in fact, that's why we extend the holidays here at our Fatima Center for our staff, for them to be able to celebrate Christmas, not just Christmas, certainly Christmas Day, but more than Christmas Day, so that it's time both of family and prayer and recreation, but wholesome recreations.
So 12 days of Christmas, celebrate the Christmas season, thank our Lord for his coming on earth, and we will see you on the next broadcast. Thank you.